Chapter 1, Toward Emancipation. Lincoln always moved cautiously. He once told the story of a man with a hillside mill whose water supply came from a nearby lake. The man opened the sluice a trifle, and the water rushed out, widening the passage until its volume swept off mill and miller. If not handled with care, emancipation could turn out to be a torrent that would drown one and all. And so Lincoln took his time acting directly against slavery. And even when he took his boldest step on September 22nd, 1862, he announced that he did not intend to act until 100 days later. Others, members of Congress, military officers, the slaves themselves, were less willing to wait. Indeed, from the very start of the crisis, the call sounded to seize upon the war, to abolish slavery, to make emancipation a cause and not merely a possible consequence. In late April 1861, Joshua Giddings, an Ohio congressman from 1838 to 1859 and an anti-slavery activist, wrote to Charles Sumner, the radical Republican senator from Massachusetts. The first gun fired at Fort Sumter rang out the death knell of slavery. He followed that up with a call for some kind of emancipation proclamation, arguing that such a proclamation would compel every Confederate fighting man to remain at home and look to their Negroes instead of going into the army to kill our friends. Orville Browning, Lincoln's friend and political supporter, who in June would fill the Illinois Senate seat, opened as a result of Stephen Douglas's death, wrote the president at the end of April. The time is not yet, but it will come when it will be necessary for you to march an army into the South and proclaim freedom to the slaves. When it does come, do it. Don't hesitate. You're fighting for national life, for your own individual life. God has raised you up for a great work. The belief spread that whatever the reason for the war and whatever assurances had been given the South that the government would not interfere with the domestic institutions of states. If the Union was to survive, slavery could not. The conviction is permeating the mind of the North, noted one writer, that in some way or other, slavery is to go down in this struggle to its final death. John Hay, Lincoln's private secretary, observed, "What we could not have done in many lifetimes, the madness and folly of the South has accomplished for us. Slavery offers itself more vulnerable to our attack than at any point in any century, and the wild malignity of the South is excusing us before God and the world." William Slocum, the author of The War and How to End It, a pamphlet that went through several editions in 1861, insisted that slavery